As a reminder for the group sessions coming up for Regal Change Academy, the all-male session is going to be October 1st, and then that is going to be just a Q&A session where we meet together, you ask questions, I answer them, and the goal here is to continue to build a brotherhood. That's going to be the main goal, and my hope is that we're going to be able to continue these into the upcoming months and maybe meet once a month or once every 2 months just to check in and see how everybody's doing. And then there's going to be a second session, which is a male and female Q&A session on October 7th. And it's going to be a very similar format, just with males and females. And again, the whole goal here is to create a godly community. The goal is to create a community that is providing and building with each other, where we can have that support. And with the topic that we're going to be discussing today on energy vampires, you've got to be aware that even though it may seem like it's a lonely journey on this path, this kind of stuff with the group sessions are going to be extremely helpful, and you will feel a raise in your vibration by coming together with groups of people that have that like-minded mentality. So with that being said, let's get into today's topic, which is why energy vampires are actually secretly admiring you and your strength and your tenacity. Now, what they're really looking at is your spiritual fortitude, your connection to the Most High, your connection to your own sense of godliness. That's what they are. It may seem like they're in an envious position or they're in a jealous position, but it is actually admiration and respect. And they're not going to have a choice, because you're going to leave them no choice but to respect and accept it. And that's the kind of position that you want to be in. But in order to do that, one thing that you have to really knock down, not just within yourself, but when you're interacting socially with other people, is a term that I call emotional differentiation. And I ended up coming up with this a few years ago. And the reason was because I felt as though, as an empath, which I don't really like to label myself as an empath anymore, even though I do consider myself an empath, I don't like that term specifically. I don't think it's a helpful term necessarily. And the reason being is because, well, what do you do with it? Now you know you're an empath. Well, what now? Well, that's why you need to learn emotional differentiation. And that's why I came up with emotional differentiation. Because it took me so long to figure out that, okay, is this my emotion or is that their emotion? Because if it's my emotion, then that's something that I can deal with. But if it's their emotion, then I'm just going to ask God to please give this energy back to whoever sent it. And that's the best way to go about it, in my opinion. But I had a dream last night, and the main message in the dream was that the energy vampires are going to be eyeing the chosen. Now, what this means is that over the course of the next couple months or so, the next couple weeks, you may see an increase in people looking at you or watching you. I've noticed that this happens specifically around Halloween, the pagan holiday Halloween, and it almost like rises in intensity the closer it gets to Halloween, because I do genuinely think that there's demonic portals that are being opened up, because I don't see Halloween as like a pure holiday. I don't see Halloween as a holiday that should be celebrated anymore, at least if you're following Jesus. I don't see it as a specific holiday that's needed. We have plenty of other holidays that are biblical that we can strive toward. But the point is that there are going to be demonic portals opening, and the demons are going to be eyeing you. So if you notice an increase in people watching you, and not in the kind of way that you like, it's probably because they're sensing that there's this light in you, and you're going to have to be very cautious and careful. But I'm not telling you to slow down. keep doing you and keep being who you are. But be cautious and careful about who you interact with and who you're giving your energy to. And the energy vampires are going to be trying to say things to get you to be manipulated into doing what they want you to do. Now, this happens with all different kinds of energy vampires. We can also just call them narcissists. The narcissist is empty inside, and you'll see in their eyes whether or not they have color or light to their eyes. Now, for example, this pen has a silver tip, right? So as an inanimate object, it's a black pen with a silver tip. So you can see the color there. Now, just like you can see the color on the pen, but it's an inanimate object, the person that you look into the eyes of that is an energy vampire or a narcissist, you'll see the color of their eyes, but you will not see the light. Okay? They're not going to have this life within their eyes. They're going to have this dimmed and sunken look behind the color of their eyes. Now, it is true that the eyes are the windows of the soul. In fact, the eyes are connected to the brain, and the eyes are actually are a part of the body, of course, but they're just as much a part of the body as they are of the mind and the brain. And so they connect. Our ability to see is what helps us strive closer to the divine in some sense. And so you're going to have to be able to discern who's who. And the best way to do that is to be able to look into someone's eyes and really see what they're capable of. Now, these people are not going to want to live up to their potential. You may have seen potential in these people. You may have seen that they have things that they could be doing and being their best version of themselves, but they're not. And maybe you want to help them, but maybe they're not yours to help. And that could be a harsh realization, because a lot of the times energy vampires, even if they're family, even if they're friends or close friends or whoever you thought that they were close with you, it may turn out not to be the case. And that can be a harsh realization. It can be a tragic realization in some senses as well. But they don't want what's best for you either. And they will actually think it's funny and a joke that they can hurt people. They think it's funny. And if you don't believe me, then you probably haven't experienced the true energy vampire or narcissist in your life. But everybody that knows what I'm talking about is nodding their head and just saying in their head, yep, that's it. That's completely true. They don't give a shit. And that's exactly what it is. These people do not care if they hurt you. They do not care if they take your life force. They do not care whether or not they are taking from you in order for their own personal gain. They do not want to give glory to God. They want to have glory for themselves. They want to have everything for themselves. And it's really just that simple. These people are not human as far as I can discern. These people are demonically possessed, and these people are, how would you say? These people are active agents of evil, maliciousness. If anybody has ever encountered true malignant narcissists, then you know what I'm talking about. These people genuinely want to see the world become theirs, even if it burns. Think about the first things that come to mind are Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones and the Joker from The Dark Knight Rises, or The Dark Knight, not The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight, in The Dark Knight, the Joker, he just wants to see the world burn. He is a man that is not reasoned with. He cannot be swayed in one way or another. He wants pure chaos. He does not care. Now, this is obviously an extreme, but it's just more of an exaggeration of what actually is going on with these kinds of individuals. And then the Daenerys Targaryen, where it seems like she's a good person. She seems like she's wanting to do the right thing. And she has a really good image for herself. She's developed a fairly good reputation. And then at the last minute, what happens? Well, spoiler alert. She burns the whole city to the frickin' ground with her dragons at the end, right? And I'm referencing these because they're both male and female forms, but again, these are highly exaggerated characters of this kind of type of person, this kind of energy vampire-like person, this narcissistic behavior. They see their glory in disturbing and destroying people's lives because they genuinely feel that it's the right thing to do. And that's the most malicious part. Think about every villain that's ever lived, or at least that has ever been conjured in any kind of fictional character story. They all thought to some degree they were doing what was right, even though it hurt many kinds of different people. And it's not necessarily that sometimes you're going to have casualties if you're in a fight of some kind, but to actively put people in a position where they are going to be murdered in their souls, that's not correct. That's not the way to go. That's not righteous. Remember, in the Bible it says, "Thou shalt not kill," but the actual translation can be considered as "Thou shalt not murder." And I learned this a while ago in my studies on Jordan Peterson and watching his Exodus series, which is actually apparently free now. But anyway, that's beside the point. The whole purpose is that thou shalt not murder and thou shalt not kill are two different things. You can kill in self-defense, and you can kill when you are actually fighting a war with someone that wants to kill you. Again, that kind of goes back to self-defense. And I'm not saying that you should. I'm not saying that that's something you should strive for, but I'm saying that if you are in that position, then that's going to be what happens. But murdering is a completely different story. And a lot of the times, these people are going to want to murder your essence. They want to murder your ability to thrive and to survive in any kind of environment and any kind of way. And so you need to be very, very careful with these kinds of individuals. They are malicious. And even though it may not seem like they like you, I mean, they really don't, but they do, again, admire your tenacity and your spiritual voltage that you have within you. And so I would say, hold on to that within yourself. Remember who you are and stay true to the course that's set in front of you and that God has placed you on. Again, I know it can seem kind of lonely at times, but that's what channels like these are for, is to inform, educate, and provide an inspirational and supportive experience for you. So, with that being said, do feel free to check out the Regal Change Academy and sign up for a session by emailing me. And peace be with you. Till next time.